8th standard English. Students, now we are going to learn about Unit 6 Supplementary, Homeless Man and His Friends, a true story. There is one man without hope and his friends. His friends, there is 4 dogs. So that is a story. Homeless man with his friends, that dogs, a true story. Okay, let us learn this story. There is a homeless man in Rio do Sul in South Brazil. There is a one hope man without hope in Rio do Sul in South Brazil who often sacrifices his own food to feed the stray dogs. Stray dogs, which means street dogs, around him. Once he suddenly required emergency treatment. He wants to go to the hospital. That emergency treatment to him. His kindness came back to him like a boomerang. Boomerang, which means come back to the person who threw it. For the faithful dogs he had been feeding made sure he wasn't alone. The faithful dog expected he will come back to the same place. The feeding made sure he wasn't alone. He will not alone, so he will come back. The faithful dogs were waiting to him. The dog's incredible loyalty was witnessed by nurse Chris Mamprin and her colleagues. The dog's incredible, which means unbelievable. The dog's unbelievable loyalty was witnessed by nurse Chris Mamprim and her colleagues. Actually, after he admitted the hospital, there is no human beings around him. So that witnessed, what is the witness here? Dogs only. So just the nurse Mamprim and her colleagues, just they saw the dogs. The homeless man known as Caesar, after they know the names Caesar, at the emergency room of the hospital at about 3 a.m. to seek treatment. Emergency room of the hospital at about 3 a.m. to seek treatment and medicine for a pre-existing health condition he had been battling. It was his first time at the hospital for treatment. The Caesar, the homeless man, was first time in this hospital, as he normally goes to another health facility in town. So always, just if he has some illness, normally he goes to another hospital, another facility in town hospital. Thus, Mamprim and her colleagues didn't know about Caesar's condition nor his background. Mamprim is a nurse and her colleagues, they didn't know about the Caesar condition and his background, family background. But not before long. It's not long time. They realized that he had a gang of dogs accompanying him. Then after that, they understood he had a gang of dogs accompanying him. 4 concerned dogs had showed up at the entrance of the hospital. 4 concerned of the dog, the entrance of the hospitals were waiting for Caesar. They were waiting for Caesar. They were concerned about their homeless master, who the nurses soon learned had been for some time forgoing his own meals to feed the dog. So after that, the nurse Mamprim wanted to give her own food to the dog. Mamprim snapped a photo of the touching scene, and also in that 4 dogs, he wanted to take that photo, the touching scene, and later posted it on Facebook, saying, I came across this today at the hospital where I woke at 3 a.m. while their master, who lives on the street, while their master, his Caesar, was being treated, his companions waited at the door. A simple person without luxury who depends on help to overcome the hunger, the cold, the pain, the evils of the world, has by his side the best companions, and the exchange is reciprocal. So everything they didn't consider, the dog pain, the evils of the world, the by his side, the best companions of the Caesar. Really, I was enjoying. Who said that? Mamprin, nurse of the hospital. An exchange of love, affection, warmth and understanding, a person who confessed as that he stops eating to feed them. Mamprim continued. So continuously she was doing her work. Speaking to the Dodo, Dodo is here one of the nurse in this hospital. Mamprim said to the Dodo, they are all well taken care of and chirpy. The faithful canines were anxiously anticipating Caesar's safe return. Anxiously expected Caesar's safe return. The dogs were waiting that line. Fortunately, the animals reunited with their owner in no time. So without the owner, they will not be staying here. So that Mamprim and Todos they were discussing that, like, not wanting to keep Caesar and his companions apart, the staff let the dogs inside after giving him the medication he needed. After he gave the medicine to the Caesar and let the dogs inside the room. They even offered some food to Caesar, and also the nurse gave the food to the Caesar. Then they allowed the dog to see the Caesar. Believe me, he ate some and saved a bit to give the dogs later. Just he ate a little bit, and he saved remaining food. He saved to give the dog later. Mamprim recalled. An hour later, Caesar left that hospital with the 4 dogs trailing behind. After that, he recovered, and later Caesar left the hospital with the 4 dogs trailing behind, happily wagging their tails, happily shaking their tails. So after Caesar left the hospital, the 4 dogs felt too much of happiness. I do not know what his life is like, Mamprim asked. Mamprim guessed. I don't know what his life is like or why he is on the street. But I admire the respect and love he has for his little friends. I really appreciate. Mamprim concluded, seeing them like this, waiting at the door, just show how much they are well cared for and loved. So she was inspired by the dogs and the Caesar. Even though Caesar has little material possessions and likely has no kin to turn to, he is never alone because he has his warm and loving companions. He will never alone because he has a warm and loving companions. The companions, what is that? Dogs, the 4 dogs. Here they have mentioned. So here just a glossary. Boomerang, which means come back to the person who threw it. Medication, form of medicine that is used to treat. Incredible, unbelievable. Anticipation, expecting. Okay, so the real love and affectionate we can learn from this story. Homeless man with his friends. True story. Okay, so that actually the street dogs only real care to the Caesar. The Caesar also, if he get any food, little bit only, just he wants to eat, and the remaining food he saved, and after the later he wants to give to the 4 dogs. So that is a real care and affectionate of the human beings and the animals here. So okay, thank you students.